Welcome to the recap of Miss Venezuela. I'm Dani. Thanks for clicking the episode. If you like content like this, then be sure to subscribe and also check out channel memberships for access to exclusive episodes. This is my second time recording this recap because the first time I accidentally hit slow-mo and lost the audio on the first half of the recap. Totally my fault, but I had to wait to redo this until after I returned from Miss Earth USA. I love the opening of this. It was kind of giving me Lion King vibes with the sunrise. I really like all of the dancers, all of the entertainers. I love that we see our queens a part of the opening number. The costuming was fantastic. All the wardrobe the ladies were wearing. I love that we went from these white type of dresses, which was really more of like an overcoat, into the shimmering gold pieces that they wore for their introductions. I was really getting the vibe of Miss France throughout this production. Like, it feels very Miss France inspired, and I love that because I think that they probably have the best national production. Out of all the pageants that send representatives to Miss Universe, Miss France. Go watch it. Love that they have a new song for Miss Venezuela. I was a little bit nostalgic though because I was like, where's the old song? I miss it. And then it came back later. So I was like, yeah, we get both. I loved that part. They even had fire on stage, which we can't really do in the US because of fire laws, so that's a bummer. I think in terms of entertainment for the performers and the contestants and all the numbers that they were putting together, fantastic. I do, however, feel like there was too much commentary throughout the show. I could do with a lot less of that and still a lot more contestants. We were literally at the 1 hour and 25-minute mark before we got to see the contestants compete in swim. That's a long time. I'm going to share with you the performances that for me really stood out, but I will say that this was an especially competitive year at Venezuela, so this is a sight to see. At the beginning of swim, we saw them open with this disco number, which was super, super fun, so let me talk about my standouts. Amazonas. Beautiful walk here. I wasn't a fan of some of the lighting though during this segment because maybe it was just that she walked too far to the end of the runway, but there was some lighting under her face, and I just like when we're lit from above to reduce any shadows. But this was an effortless performance and she had a very strong ending pose. Answatagi. So I really like her opening because of the disco theme that she started with these peace signs. She was so cute for this. Really initially caught my attention because of that. Wonderful eye contact with the camera, very, very fit, and a very relaxed walk. That was the vibe I was getting from her. Distrito Capital, very, very confident walk. Oh my gosh, just the projection. I could feel her through the screen, beautiful face, very Venezuelan pose at the end of the runway, just chef's kiss. Then after this segment, we went from the 70s to the 80s, which was fun. So I like the change up with the dance number, the performers, and then the set change as well. It was very difficult for me to scrutinize these contestants because they're so good, but I was really trying to kind of nitpick and figure out if I had to narrow things down, who would I narrow it down to? Miranda. The thing that stuck out about her was initially her hairstyling. So she didn't have the typical voluminous Venezuela hairstyle. I think that that gave her a freshness in terms of her styling, but also I will say with her performance, she came across as very, very lighthearted and very carefree. And I liked that about her. It really drew me to her. Nueva Esparta, she had great hip movement. Honestly, these ladies were really, really good. And I was really struggling to find a favorite at this point. I also love the switch to the 90s segment. It looked like this mesh between Britney Spears choreography and Saved by the Bell. Big fan of that. Yarakui, really, really nice entrance here. Very smooth spin turn. Eye contact with the camera. Loved her, loved this performance, but what I really appreciate and love about her is that she knows how to smize. She can smile through those eyes. Those were my standouts for swim, which was really tough. I actually wish that they would have had a larger first cut for the show and not have gone straight to top 10, but I also get that usually when we have the stricter cut, then we get to see them do both swim and gown, and that was the case here. If I thought that swim was difficult to narrow down, gown was 10 times harder. I really don't even know what to tell you. Honestly, they all did a fantastic job, so I'm just gonna nitpick here, and really I was just struggling to narrow down things to a top 5. Let me just say I love the band on the stage, the live band. It was just It was very vintage kind of feeling, very elegant, very grand, and I loved that. Now let's talk performances. Amazonas came out first. Great evening gown that she had here. Now, we saw a lot of metallics this year, which actually surprised me because in Venezuela, typically we do see a pretty decent mix of colors. We see usually pinks and light blues and deep reds, and we just see a lot here. So I was very surprised to see mainly metallics coming from the contestants. That was just an overall note. Now, Amazona's gown, being a metallic, was really beautiful on her, though. And the silhouette of this gown reminds me of Colombia's in 2015 at Miss Universe, which was a gorgeous, gorgeous gown, and I loved it. So this performance, honestly, I have no notes. Perfect. I don't know how she could have done better. Anzuategui, the top of the gown was incredible. It literally looked like she was surrounded by the points of a crown. Fantastic. This reminds me of something maybe a queen would wear in a Disney live action film, or should wear, shall I say. Absolutely beautiful walk here. Just exudes elegance with every step that she takes. Wow. I also really like that they got to take their time here. These walks were super slow. They got so much time on stage to do whatever that they wanted to do, and that makes me happy. I also love the little side look that she did. Woo, I was like, whoa. And I do wish, though, however, that they would have gotten closer shots of their faces on the end of the runway. Distrito Capital. This gown, personal favorite of mine. Sometimes you see a gown and you just think, I would wear that. I would wear this. Absolutely love. Definitely a standout. These ladies were all just so stunning. Just look at the footage. How do you pick a favorite? I don't know. I would have had to interview these ladies personally because I don't know. Miranda, another gorgeous gown here. Oh my gosh. Just looking at these on camera is one thing, but I can just imagine being there in person, how insane these gowns actually look under the lights, just glistening. Honestly, at this point, I was like, send them all to Miss Universe. My thought was, could you imagine if instead of sending one representative to Miss Universe, we were able to just send the high point winners of every single area of division, which could be the same woman, but it might be multiple. Imagine if you were able to send a Miss Universe team. So high point for swim, interview, gown, and onstage question. There would be some countries that would be pretty unstoppable. That would be super interesting and a whole new level of strategy. Anyways, love the spin turn at the end. She absolutely nailed her final pose. Nueva Esparta. Love this gown too. I think she looked beautiful in this color. At least she wore a color, so a little bit unique here. And really no comment though. There's nothing to critique here. Great job. Sucre, I have to say that I really love the scallop details on this white gown, and I love that she specified that the color of this gown is snow white. So a reference to a princess, and I thought that was a very nice touch. Yarokui, great, classic, effortless style here. I love her smile at the end of the runway too. So cute. Zulia, we have to talk. Very interesting gown, kind of like a caftan style of gown. But what I love is that it still outlined her figure. You could see her silhouette here, and even the stoning on the sleeves helped to accentuate her silhouette as well. And that was just so well done. This is a gown that I really wouldn't suggest for many other competitions. This is something you could do at Miss Venezuela because it's kind of expected. But in other places, I don't know if I would suggest it. It would be a lot. It would be a lot to carry. So now they narrowed it down to the top 5, which was tough. Very, very tough. So let's talk about their questions and answers. Amazonas went first, and she was asked, what is the biggest challenge facing our society today, and what role does beauty or the beauty queen play in helping to overcome this challenge in a positive way? She said, good evening. Thanks for the question. Good evening, Venezuela. I would love to know what is the biggest challenge that our society faces, because there are many. I believe that the role of a beauty queen is fundamental to be able to find out in every society, in every corner of the country, and in every corner of the world, to know what people are suffering, what they need to make them feel heard, and we, through our voice, can extend our helping hand to be able to build that society in which we all deserve to live. This was a pretty good answer, but I will say I do feel like it was a little bit safe because she did not identify a specific issue in society. Anzuategui, she was asked, Miss Venezuela is the most recognized pageant in the region, also for its beautiful women. How do you promote our beautiful country using the platforms that Cisneros Media has? So that is who is broadcasting, Miss Venezuela. She said, "This is one of the most listened to platforms and well-known platforms in our country and in the world. It is an opportunity that each of us has not only to represent our state, also to represent values, virtues, many characteristics that drive young people to be more ambitious every day, to seek education, to seek professions, to seek jobs, to be able to develop our country and give a better standard of life to Venezuelans. That is why this platform is a wonderful platform to open doors and paths to success." She said a lot of great things here. I think she had a lot of wonderful messaging when she talked about how inspiring the platform can be, but I don't feel like she specifically addressed how do you promote Venezuela using the platforms. Next, Distrito Capital. As a public figure, what innovating strategies would you propose to prevent gender violence? How would you use the platform to educate and empower society on this topic? And she said, without a doubt, the Miss Venezuela platform has become a platform that helps Venezuelan women to be an inspiration. And I am here because that is what I am. Very confident. Since I was a child, I was raised in a home led by a mother who taught me that no matter the obstacle, I can always fight for my dreams. And I am here in search of humanizing beauty because in addition to being a fighting woman, I also think that the sense of service can give me what I am looking for so much through and to help the Miss Venezuela platform. Because I consider it really important that beyond digital platforms, we also know the feeling that we also have inside of us to be able to humanize beauty and to be able to send a message to the world to unify us. So once again, we're seeing a lot of really positive things that are being shared about the Miss Venezuela organization and the platform and the opportunities that it brings, but I don't feel like she addressed strategies that she could propose to prevent gender violence. Miranda, good evening. Artificial intelligence is advancing rapidly. What are your biggest concerns about its development and how to ensure it's used ethically and responsibly? And she said, good evening. Without a doubt, artificial intelligence is a tool that has helped us advance a lot in society. However, if it's not used responsibly, it can become a big problem. I propose that we educate it in its proper use to ensure that it is used appropriately in a responsible way that will benefit and not create a problem. Thank you. So she proposed that we educate people about artificial intelligence. I don't feel like she addressed her biggest concerns. She talked about how we can address this, but she didn't talk about things that are a little bit scary when it comes to AI, like AI replacing jobs and what are we to do if and when AI does replace a lot of jobs. She could have talked about how scams online can become more prevalent because AI is looking more and more convincing. Those things are kind of scary, and I also feel like even talking about how legislation will undoubtedly affect AI in the future, and honestly should, in order to protect a lot of people online from the misuse of AI. Nueva Esparta, they asked her. Some social media apps are going to apply in the near future certain global restrictions that will prevent teenagers from using beauty filters that alter beauty and physical features. What is your opinion about this measure, and what do you think is the impact on the mental health of teenagers? And she says, what a good question, because I think we live in a society where we want to cover ourselves behind a filter and we don't understand how important it is to have self-love. Empathy for ourselves beyond beauty, beyond a pretty face, is accepting what we are and how we are. That is why, for me, it is always important to show my values, my beliefs, and who I am as a person, because that is where beauty is. Once again, we're hearing a great message, but I don't feel like she directly addressed the toll that social media can take on the mental health of teenagers today. Honestly, the ladies had wonderful delivery. I do wish that the answers had been a little bit more direct. So because of this, I do feel like judges were really considering just their overall competition performances throughout every area of competition. Also, before we talk about results, I have to talk about Ileana and her final evening gown look. I absolutely loved this look. It was so elegant, so queenly. I feel like it was very Venezuela. It was kind of over the top, the big necklace. I feel like because she's so long, she has such a long neck that she can really work that type of necklace. Not everybody can really rock that look, honestly. It's not a thing. But the black gown, it was just so classic. I'm obsessed with her. I love her. I don't often say that people got robbed in a pageant, but I do feel like it was very unfair that no one in the production stopped the translator to say, or the host to say, wait. The question was translated incorrectly. That was not fair for her, and that should have been corrected in the moment, and it just wasn't, and that really upset me about her experience at Miss Universe this year. Anyways, though, she looked lovely, and I wish her the best in her future endeavors. Let's talk about placements. 4th runner-up, Nueva Esparta. 3rd runner-up, Miranda. 2nd runner-up, Distrito Capital. 1st runner-up, Amazonas, which means Anzoátegui is the new Miss Venezuela, and she will be competing at Miss Universe 2025. So I'm very, very excited for her and this journey. She is very beautiful, very well spoken. I'm curious if she will choose to use a translator at Miss Universe this year after seeing what happened recently. But I do wish her the best. She is lovely. She has so much time to prepare, and I feel like that's why historically Venezuela tends to do very well. It's going to be very fun to watch her journey, though, throughout this time. So thank you, though, for tuning into this recap. I hope that you really enjoyed it. I hope that you'll come back for lots more, and let me know in the comments what you want to see next.